What's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. I have a tile saw comparison video for you. As you can see right behind me, I have 4 saws to compare. Now this is not going to be a wet tile saw comparison because I do have a waterless, dustless tile saw to compare as well. Now these tile saws range in price from $300 all the way up to $1,800. In this video, we will compare specs, cutting capacity, transportation, setup, cleanup, which saw makes the most mess at the end of the day, or which saw is the cleanest at the end of the day. All of these saws are good. They have their pros and cons. They all get the job done. The purposes for this video is to help you guys find which saw is best suited for you. Whether you use a tile saw on a daily basis, whether you are a DIYer or homeowner, professional or contractor. So let's quickly go over the specs of each saw, compare each saw, and then we will compare cuts. We will cut glass. We will also cut very hard porcelain tile. Okay, here we go. 7-inch Diamondback, 7-inch Delta Cruiser, 10-inch waterless IQ saw, and 10-inch Dewalt D24000. We'll quickly run over the general specs: name, brand, cost, motor size. We'll start with the Diamondback from Harbor Freight. This saw runs $300 with a stand, blade, and saw. 10 amp motor. The cutting capacity is the same for this saw as all of these other saws. Moving on to the Delta Cruiser. This saw runs $500 with a standard scissor stand, the saw, as well as a Delta blade. The Delta is equipped with a very powerful 13 amp motor. Cutting capacity again is the same for the Delta as all of these other saws. Next, we have an IQ tile saw. This is a waterless, dustless tile saw. This saw runs $1,800, equipped with a 12 amp motor as well as a secondary motor for the filter system. And moving on to the Dewalt. This Dewalt runs $800, equipped with the 15 amp motor. Again, cutting capacity is the same on the Dewalt as all of these other tile saws. So we'll start with the Diamondback. Again, $300, this Diamondback. Cutting capacity, it can cut diagonally up to 18 inches. It can rip up to 24 inches. It can plunge, it can miter. The stand comes with 2 wheels for easy transportation. It is small, it is light. But the cons, the table, no rubber, no grip. Tiles tend to slip and slide when cutting. There are no extension trays over here for large format tile, which makes it difficult to cut your 12 by 24 inch tiles or larger. It also does not have an extension table to contain water. This is one of the most messy saws on the market right now. So if you plan on cutting indoors, make sure you protect the ground as well as behind the saw. If you're cutting outside, it's not a big deal at all. Again, this saw runs $300. I believe it is worth every penny. This saw is great for DIYers, great for homeowners. If you're a contractor, it is good for a backup saw. If you want something small, a secondary saw, you already have a 10-inch wet tile saw, you're working in a small area or you have a smaller job, this is really light and easy to pick up and put it in the back of your truck. Moving on over here, this is one of my favorite 7-inch tile saws. Currently, this is the Delta Cruiser. Now, Delta was the name brand behind the Lockmon Beast. I believe the Lockmon Beast has been discontinued. This took over. The cost of the Delta Cruiser is much lower than the Lockmon Beast. So, very good saw. This saw runs $500 with a scissor stand. Runs a little over $600 with this amazing gravity stand. Highly recommended. Equipped with a 13 amp motor, very strong motor, but very, very loud motor. You must wear ear protection when using this saw regardless. Has good rubber on the tray. The tray has minimal slop or movement, so it's very accurate. On a 24-inch rip, you might veer off 1/32 of an inch here and there. In comparison to this less expensive Diamondback, this thing veers off a good 1/16 of an inch plus when ripping up to 24 inches. So like I said, has a nice rubber tray, extension table for large format tiles, so it is easy to cut your 12 by 24 or larger. We have an extension table over here for water containment. One improvement the Delta Cruiser can make for the 7 inches to add an extension table in the back. This saw is still fairly messy compared to something like the Dewalt over here. But again, it is a 7 inch, it is small, lightweight, compact. It has an amazing pump. Water spray is great. You have the flexible tubing here to direct where you want the water spray to go. Cutting capacity, just like all of these saws here. Up to 18 inches diagonally, up to 24 inches ripping. Of course, you can cut more than that with the plunge option. I believe this can rip up to 26 inches with the plunge, same with the Diamondback, same with the Dewalt, same with the IQ. My two favorite things about this saw: one, the very powerful motor; two, the ease of transportation. Packing, unpacking, loading, unloading. It's very lightweight, and this gravity stand is simply amazing. Let me quickly show you. Moving right along to the IQ, dustless, waterless saw. This saw is simply amazing. The build quality is better than any of these saws up here. There is absolutely no slop or movement in the tray. It cuts straighter than all of these saws up here. But again, the cost is very high. It runs $1,800. Again, cutting capacity is up to 18 inches diagonally, up to 24 inches rip. It is equipped with a laser. It's a lightweight aluminum frame. You have a couple of attachments. This right here, which is a miter attachment, takes a lot of getting used to. I definitely prefer a tilt of the head and motor like that. But if you're only cutting a handful of miters for, let's say, a shower niche, it is easy to do. Another fantastic attachment you can acquire for the saw is the large format extension table. This helps with your 2-foot by 4-foot porcelain tiles we have cut with this table. This table also helps with cutting your larger quartz for countertops. We have done that as well for shower benches or countertops for vanities. Amazing attachment. It also plunges, and as you can see, size comparison, it's a very compact saw. Length and width, this can fit in small areas within a bathroom, within a house, within a kitchen. It is much smaller than your Delta Cruiser, much smaller than your Dewalt. One thing to keep in mind and to consider, the compact size of this IQ tile saw. Moving this saw around, transportation, moving from point A to point B is very simple and easy. What I like the most about this saw is, one, being so small and compact. Two, it is a waterless saw, so it is the cleanest saw at the end of the day out of all of these saws here. You won't get water on the ground, you won't get water behind the saw, you won't drip water all over the work area when moving your wet tiles to install. And second, the speed and ease of setting the saw up and breaking the saw down. Time is money. Even though this saw is the most expensive up here, $1,800, we made up that money within the first 30 days of using the saw. So it is worth the investment. Let's move on to one of the most popular tile saws on the market right now, the Dewalt 10-inch wet tile saw. As you can see, in comparison, the sheer size of this saw in comparison to all of these others, it is a big saw. It takes up a lot of room, but it contains water better than any tile saw on the market. Equipped with a 15 amp motor, very powerful. Obviously it can miter, it can plunge. The saw sits up very high, which is better on your back. I wish these other tile saw companies would give us an option to extend the legs, increase the height of the stands. They all sit very, very low in comparison to the Dewalt. This saw runs $800 for the stand, for the saw, as well as a Dewalt blade. Regardless of the sheer size of this saw, the cutting capacity is the same with the Dewalt as it is with the IQ, the Delta Cruiser, as well as the Diamondback. 18 inches diagonally and up to 24 inches rip. So the only cons or complaints about the Dewalt is literally the sheer size. It is a very, very large tile saw. It is very big and awkward for one person to pick up and move around. Transportation is a pain in the neck. You have a basic scissor stand. They do not offer a convenient gravity stand like the Delta Cruiser over there. So Dewalt, if you're listening, an optional gravity stand would be amazing for the D24000 or the D36000 that's coming out very soon. So yes, that's the only complaint. It takes up a lot of space. Typically it's used outdoors and it's simply difficult to load, unload, pack, unpack, and move around the job site. Well, there it is, guys. Again, 4 good saws. They all get the job done. We have the cheap, inexpensive, lightweight tile saw over here, but extremely messy. We also have a lightweight but very powerful 7-inch Delta Cruiser with an amazing gravity stand, as well as great extension tables. We have a very expensive but worth every single penny, waterless, dustless IQ saw. Very small, very compact. This saw speeds up a lot of time, and time is money. Then we have the Dewalt. It is very tall, very large, very powerful motor, extremely reliable, cuts well, good tray, but again, the sheer size, it's very large. It takes up a lot of space when you set it up. It is very awkward to pack, unpack, load, unload, and is difficult for one guy to move around from point A to point B on the job site. You have to keep in mind, guys, it is like splitting hairs when comparing the cleanliness of each cut. It really all depends on the quality of the tile saw blade and the age of your tile saw blade. The quality of the cut with all 4 tile saws behind me is about the same. Well, there you go, guys, a tile saw comparison video for you. We have the Diamondback 7-inch, the Delta Cruiser 7-inch, the 10-inch IQ dustless tile saw, and the 10-inch Dewalt tile saw. Each of these tile saws have their place in the tile industry, in the building industry. It all comes down to what you're looking for, what your needs are, how often you use a tile saw, how big your crew is, whether you're a homeowner, DIYer, or professional, whether you cut inside without water or cut outside with water. I hope this video helps you guys determine which tile saw is best suited for you. As usual, don't forget to subscribe, hit that thumbs up button, and share this video if you know anybody who might find it useful. And I'll see you on the next one.